Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to TLDChat. TLDChat Friday, which means it's Video Friday. That's my favorite part right there. We could just be done and that's it.
No, let's not be done. We have awesome stuff today.
I was just about to say that. That's that. We can't leave now. We've got some fantastic stuff to talk about today. We're going to cover the update on the Ajay room, the Ajay Video Studio project, and we've got Josh Cavalier here today. But before we get to those fantastic and wonderful things, we've got a little bit of TLDChat stuff to talk about. We are the Training, Learning, and Development Chat Conference and Community. You can check us out at tldc.us. You can sign up for the event coming up in January 29th and 30th in Phoenix, Arizona. And you can help us out and become a member. We've got membership at, you can click the button there that says Join Us, and you can find out all about supporting TLDC through membership and get all of the fabulous fun benefits that we are offering the community. So a Panther t-shirt does not come with the membership, though, I must say, but it might at some point. Although we might have to have a battle for Packers gear with Anthony if he's here. So this could get ugly. I don't know. I don't see Anthony in the chat yet. So
he'll be here. Oh no, he's here. He's here.
Oh, he is here. Oh boy, here goes. He's stepped away to go get his Packers t-shirt, I'm thinking. Anyways, hey, how are you guys doing? We have Sam Rogers here and Josh Cavalier. What's up, guys?
Happy to be here. Good morning. Yes, great to be here. I think we also want to bring Ajay in if we could, and say hello, Josh.
We do, because that is part of Video Friday today. Ajay, where are you? Let me see if I can find you.
I think he said no reveal.
And Josh, we're really happy to have you here today. Frequent, frequent person in the chat here, but we haven't had you on in too long to talk about all the stuff that you're up to with microlearning video, the neuroscience of video. Really looking forward to hearing what you got and getting our geek on today.
Yeah, can't wait to share.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Here we go. Morning, Ajay.
Good morning. Hey, dudes, look at the pretty faces this morning. Wow.
Yes, everyone smile for the picture.
I can't take this.
Everybody ready for the screen capture. 1, 2, 3, smile.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Can we move on?
Yes. Now that we've done the selfie. Yes.
Yeah, did somebody get that?
Hey, Josh, no reveal today. I don't know what they think. I'm building this like on just all my time, I guess. That's what they think.
Well, we did have a couple questions last time just about exactly where you are with the it was great to have that schematic that you gave us, the little sketch of your basement where you're
I sent you a new one, though, right? I sent you a new one.
You maybe.
Okay. I'll send it to you again.
Well, I have one that's got some little X's that I think are posts in the middle and stuff like that. But we had a question about where your AC unit is, or heater unit. I guess you're in Canada. You don't have AC.
Yes, we do. No, it's more like Phoenix doesn't have any heating. Anyways, no. I can send it to you again. No, but hang on a sec, guys. You have an old one because I sent you another one.
Okay.
I can send it to you again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or I can put it up here. I don't know if we can do that.
We don't need to put it up right now. We just wanted to answer a couple questions about like status of, where you are in the studio. So you do have a lighting kit that has arrived by now. Is that correct?
Okay, so here's the status. So the new diagram. I apologize for last week, everybody. I really am sorry I didn't show up. I flaked out. So
it's all
my
good.
Apologies.
We just talked about you anyway.
Absolutely. I watch it afterward. I'm going, it's over here. It's over there. Guys, no, that box is nothing. Stop it. Like, I couldn't respond to the chat. It's like, oh, God. Anyways, it's terrible to watch this in recording mode. Anyways, so I said,
right?
Yeah, it's like, no. Anyway, so to Sam's point, I redid the diagram. I put a lot of detail in there, so you guys will see where everything is.
Great.
And it's that long space on the left that is what I want to use.
Okay.
So I know Matt was talking about going the other way, right? Like I want to use this long space, and Matt wanted to say, well, we can use this space too. Unfortunately, I can't because there's an HVAC unit and a bunch of other stuff. And as Sam kindly put it, an air hockey table and a foosball table and. Yeah, so those don't move, by the way. And also, you have pinball table one of these days. So, anyway, but that being said, to your point, to update you very quickly, got the lighting kit, Sam. Thank you. I actually the one that you recommended, I couldn't get because Amazon jacked up the prices, or whoever jacked up the prices.
It happens every so often, yeah.
So I found another kit in Canada, comparable for a reasonable cost. I got that in. I got 60 sheets of drywall sitting in my garage right now.
Okay.
But I have to do all the electrical stuff, in which I haven't had the chance to get to that. But that being said, I just want to share with you, Sam, what I would like to do, and you, Matt, brought it up last video Friday, is I want to do a temporary area because I have to start doing some e-learning courses and some taping for some e-learning courses for some of my clients. And I also want to start a webcast or podcast or something just on an ad hoc basis. So I would like to set up an area where I can, get that going and then at the same time build the actual studio with you.
Okay,
so
great. Well, we're happy to have you on as like a regular segment on Video Friday so that we can, keep checking in and maybe just work one thing at a time. The Facebook group is a great place to exchange stuff in between. And if you wouldn't mind actually posting that image that you're talking about that's updated to the Facebook group, then we can get input from everybody, including the folks who are watching this on the recording or, couldn't be here today for whatever reason.
Is there anybody in the chat that has other questions that they remember that we maybe missed that Ajay could answer for us?
So I'm just reading Anthony's comments, that's all.
Ajay, I got a suggestion. I have a suggestion for you.
Yes, Josh.
Yeah, take a look at or look up something called green glue. It's a green glue. It's a sonic barrier, and you can actually put it in between sheets of drywall. It's actually a really inexpensive way to if you got drywall already. If you have to go around an air conditioning unit or anything like that, it forms a barrier, so you don't have to put like any batting in or anything like that.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. No, that's great advice. And because the HVAC stand very quickly is at one side of the area of the basement. It's a big basement. It's about maybe total basement size, maybe 1,200 square feet.
Oh, you're talking HVAC. Is Paul here? Where's Paul?
Yeah. Anyways, in the AC unit is a unit outside the house, so it's just the HV, the heating furnace and all that, and the hot water tank that is downstairs. So, anyways, yes, I will share all that. I don't want to stop looking at this pretty face. I know all you guys really wanted to see me. I'm being smart, people.
Tubs of green glue go for about $289.
Okay, well that's great. Well, tubs, like what's a tub?
It's worth it.
And you could get one of those caulking guns with the little tube of it for $16.
Okay, that's good. That's good advice. Thank you. That's really good advice. But I can shut down the HVAC when I'm doing it. Mind you, I might freeze my. How family friendly is this show? I might freeze my butt. I might freeze my butt off in the middle of January. Something Brett has no clue what I'm talking about. But I can still
I get plenty cold when it drops below 80.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's 75. I'm gonna put on a sweater. Oh my God, we gotta turn on the heating. Okay, listen. No, thank you for all the feedback. And sincerely, Sam, and I know Matt. I don't know if Matt's in the chat or not, but I really want to thank you guys for taking the time out to doing this with me because I'm really excited about it. And on my part, I apologize. Sort of life and work gets in the way, and of course the bills get paid first before doing anything else.
It's all good.
Things get a little delayed.
It's all good. I think
apologize.
Matt is on his way to a wedding today, if I remember correctly. Okay. So we've all got life. We've all got things going on, but we can sync up on the Facebook group in the meantime.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was. We weren't talking about it. It wasn't Video Friday, and I don't think I saved it. I'm on my Amazon right now. I can't find it. But somebody posted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, a sale going on right now for a kit of 3 LED lights with barn doors and filters and everything for only $120. So
Wow.
for 3 LED
Amazing.
panels, that's a pretty screaming deal, I would think.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you can share that link, that would be great, Brent. If you can.
That's what I'm trying to find it again, but maybe it was like a one-day deal or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I got that kit with the 3 backgrounds, right? And the green, white, black, whatever, and stuff like that. Yeah. I didn't invest in any further backgrounds. I'm still waiting to see what, I just watch you guys and get your comments and feedback. So,
well, that's a great portable start.
The big, that cheap kit, because I've got that one too. They the reflectors and whatever, they just take up so much room, and the things are everywhere. And I figure a nice LED with the barn doors, just like 3 of those, much smaller, compact, and
yeah, I don't mind investing if that's good. Yeah, I would happily pick that up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is that you've invested in thus far, Ajay, I'm sure it'll be great to start. If you have backgrounds that can be hung over like a stand or something like that was on that original link that I gave you, you can put that up anywhere, including the room that you're in right now. It doesn't have to be that it starts off in the basement if you're like working with drywall down there and all that. So, we'll check in and keep this as a recurring segment.
Thank you, guys. Really, sincerely, thank you very much, Sam. I appreciate your input.
Sure.
Josh, break a leg, man.
You gonna be in Vegas?
For DevLearn?
Yeah.
No, not this time.
We're trying to karaoke together. We've been trying to.
Well, if you're just to announce it, I was accepted to, of course, TLDC. So. Let's put a plug in there for TLDC. I will be speaking at TLDC. We'll scare all the people away. We'll be good. Me and Anthony on stage. And I will be at ATD.
It was supposed to be a surprise.
Live in person. 2 crazy, whatever you want to call us. Josh, I will be at ATD TK. I got acceptance to speak there. So
awesome.
I don't know if Sam's going to be there or anybody else going to be there, but I would love to connect with you guys.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Ciao.
All right. See you later, Ajay.
Take care, man.
See you, Ajay.
All right, guys. The floor is yours. Do you want to do your screen share there, Josh?
Yes. Let's do that.
What do you have to share with us?
Oh, boy. Well, so, again, I like to keep it loose. I have like a presentation. We could bounce all over the place and talk about whatever, because I know, over the last few months, you guys have brought up all kinds of different things, from A/B testing to eye tracking to cognitive load, all kinds of different concepts. So I'm just going to just jump right in. I don't mind if we go off the rails. I'm going to be looking at the chat box and seeing if anybody has any kind of questions as we go through it. So I'm just going to bring up some ideas, some concepts that I have investigated, looked at, implemented, and hopefully you can take away some ideas. I mean, I'm trying to bring some value to this conversation. So I just have some really big ideas I'm going to talk about, and we can just go from there. All right.
Bring it on.
Yeah, right. All right. So let's do some sharing here, and let's do that and that. And there we go. All right. So the first thing I want to just get into is this resource that I found. In doing the research of video in general, the neuroscience and microvideo and all these other things, you have to go back in history and think about how video was used in the past. So I found this awesome resource. If you guys can get your hands on any of these issues, it's called the Educational Screen. And you have this really hyper-focused period of time in the 30s and 40s where some very intelligent people were trying to implement video at scale for the first time for educational purposes. So a lot of the concepts, things that are covered in there are fantastic, because you get these precursors of what we have today, where it is exponential, right? So, we've had 50 years of gradual increase of video consumption and creation, but now it's exponentially heading out there. But we can see some of these core ideas starting to be germinated and, be created during this time. So the first one was microvideo. Well, actually, microvideo content or short-form video content for consumption was created way back in the 40s. During World War II, both the Canadian and U.S. military use short-form content. I found examples of 80-second reel-to-reel films that were used during that time. It was amazing, right?
Nice.
So you think, oh, microvideo's new.
It probably took more time to string the reel than it did to actually show the movie, right?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So, they had these short-form videos back there. So, the first thing is microvideo is not new. It's not. So, I could even go back to looking at my grandmother's textbook from biology from the 1930s, and in there, the notes to the teacher, right? When you're teaching this lesson, instead of having the kids write paragraphs, they were having them draw pictures. They would go ahead and grade the drawings and grade the visuals and have them, go through and read paragraphs of content. So short form content, visual content the need has always been there. It's just we had never had the platform until today to do it at scale. Another thing that I got out of this was that there was a gentleman from Philadelphia, Philip Regan, and Philip was contracted by the U.S. military to create films, training films, and during World War II, you had tens of thousands of troops that needed to be trained. Now, what he was really good at was leveraging symbols. So what's great is we see the work of like Lee Lefevre, right, Common Craft, and whiteboard video. That's been around for a long time. The use of symbols, removal of bias has been there. And so for those of you that are looking for ways of reducing cognitive load and trying to get across concepts clearly, using symbols is a really easy way to do that. So if you see those whiteboard videos, there is something to be said about using conceptual images as opposed to photography. So, when I'm on the screen, when Sam, Brent, you're on the screen, there's bias that kicks in. And I got some information and some other stuff about headshot later on that we can get into. But symbols themselves are extremely easy to process, and it removes or reduces the bias. So
it's very cool.
Again,
it does match up with a lot of those conversations that we've had, and with the Common Craft stuff and all of that. And speaking of that, we had a request. Do you have any links to that historical stuff at all that you can pop into the chat, or
not easily. I'd have to go ahead and switch around, and I could provide those though.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that'd be good. I think people might enjoy that, but at some point, it doesn't have to be right now. It's good.
Okay. Let's see. Next thing I want to get into. So getting back towards like a structure of video, a couple things that will help you with your training video. The concept of priming somebody, getting them prepared. I almost think it like, I played sports in high school, and it's like being in the ready position, getting your brain in the ready position. So a priming statement would be, hi, I'm Josh Cavalier. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to build a micro video. That's a priming statement. And what you're doing is allowing somebody to get back into their head the schema of that information, and them to be ready to add on or to modify their current beliefs or anything like that. That's priming. And then reflection is to give them an opportunity to absorb and take in that content. So you would prime at the beginning of the video, and then there's a pause or reflection off the back end. It could just be a summary statement, and that's how you create a micro video. That would be a reflection statement. And I find these in numerous training videos that are out there, and it's a great way, again, to give somebody the time to get their brain ready to take in that new content. So, when we're creating our training videos, we try to go ahead and use those two concepts of priming and reflection. So I typically show a video from Sesame Street of the letter U, but a short 10-second video, U, umbrella, up, the letter U. And again, it's a core structure that we use specifically for training. Another concept, reflexive memory. So this gets into emotions. And you know, we're very primal. And what I mean by that is that, you know, first 5 seconds of us consuming some type of content, it is pure emotion. It is straight chemical reaction. So how can we leverage that, right? And this is the reason why you have this, you know, this opportunity to create this connection with your viewer in that first 5 seconds. And I think a lot of people they don't take advantage of it. They abuse it. They'll do an intro that's too long. They don't connect immediately to the audience, and they'll immediately use their viewers. Here's an example. So years ago, we did a cat video up on YouTube, and we lost more than half of our audience within the first minute of that video. Does anyone want to guess what we did in the first minute?
The objectives?
Any takers in the chat? Yes.
Yeah. Let me guess.
So we went ahead and said, during this video, we'll take a look at Captivate's timeline, you know, and all this other crap. So people, they vacated. I mean, you could actually see the analytics, and people were out the door, and they would scrub down the timeline and get to the point that they're at. It's a waste of time. Now, you know, video has matured, and you actually see those structures being implemented today. Don't put learning objectives at the beginning of the video, please. Your users are very sophisticated, and there's this concept of, you know, what's called reverse modality, where they can scrub, right? The modality is theirs. They own that modality. And that's another thing that you need to, you know, think about, is the ownership of that video and how they're going to seek and find their content. So I got a couple examples of what represents reflexive. So I'm gonna unplug here so you guys can hear my audio, and I'm just gonna play some quick video here. And let's just talk about what happens from a reflexive standpoint. This may blow you out of water, but we'll see what happens here. so sorry. So you probably had a real emotional reaction to that. Here, let's try another one. Let's see if you can. Again, this is just your pure reaction to what's happening in front of you in the first 5 seconds. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a good one. You know, in a large auditorium, I usually get a pretty significant reaction from that. You know, with the Star Wars. But you know, again, it's an example of how. Back here. Sorry about that. It's an example of how. You know, you are consuming content and you're getting that pure emotional reaction that's happening. And so at the start of your training videos, you can use emotion strategically to again, gain interest. But I think the problem and the issue that a lot of educators have is that they look towards marketing and sales videos, and this is where they get it wrong. You know, marketing and sales videos and entertainment, they use emotion throughout the whole entire piece. And I really believe that you have to throttle back the emotion and get and reduce the cognitive load so that you can deliver content in a hyper-focused way that is easily consumable. You know, again, we're trying to produce optimal forms of media so that you don't have to keep watching it over and over again, right? The easy consumption. And so by adding a background audio track, by having multiple visuals on the screen, by, like for instance, in this environment, adding people off to the side. Like, should I look at the chat? Should I look at what Josh is showing on the screen? Should I look at the, you know, the people over on left? That's a very high cognitive load. So,
but we're good. We can handle cognitive load here at TLDChat.
Well, we have an advanced group here. We have an advanced group of users. So, all right, let's. I got a couple of things to go over here. I'm just kind of watching my time. So here's another one. Okay, so in North Carolina, we love Krispy Kreme. And
this is a blank white screen, Josh.
I know, you got to be patient, Sam. It's coming up.
I need some cognitive load, damn it.
Yeah, this is very low cognitive load right here. So this is such a cool video because it really shows you, like I mentioned, like in the first 5 seconds, what happens with somebody from a visual standpoint. So just to give you a little bit of background on this video, what they did, they put a camera in a box of Krispy Kreme, and they took these boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts around and to see what the initial reaction would be from just the boxes. So let's take a look and a listen to this video. It's actually pretty cool. Oh, sorry. That's a lot of fun, but you can see that initial reaction from people, very emotional, and it's just the first, the first thing that they are. I'm sorry, I cannot give you guys Krispy Kreme. Oh, by the way, Krispy Kreme is actually handing out chocolate glazed donuts just for the eclipse. You can only get it during the weekend of the eclipse. So if you're near a Krispy Kreme, then you can take advantage of that. I don't own any Krispy Kreme stock, by the way. So it's just
yeah, how many are they handing out? You just get one?
Okay, so here's another thing I want to show you guys, and talking about consumption of content. So in this environment that we're in right now, where again folks are trying to, I doubt if they're watching me, but they're looking at the screen and they're looking at the comments and the flow of the comments. Over in Japan, they have this this type of video where when you add your comments in here, those comments flow across the screen. And I found this just absolutely fascinating, especially from a cognitive standpoint, because if you have video or information, especially like music in the background, you can actually focus in on the comments that are coming across. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I think that what this is that you see a lot of experimentation happening out there in the way that we, as a social community, exchange ideas during a live presentation or during video. So this is called Daku video, and I do have an example of it. So I need to just switch over really quick. Let me see here.
Yeah, while you're doing that,
yeah,
is a great point, right? Because we've all been experimenting, and I think even broadcast TV is still experimenting with cognitive load. How much can people take with all the little boxes and streaming things on the screens? Some channels are doing it better and differently than others.
Yeah, so if you want to check this out, this is at bilibili.com, and it's a Japanese site. If you're in Chrome, it'll auto-translate. And you could actually get in there, sign up, and then start typing comments in there. And it's funny because people have already figured out how to hijack the comments. Like they have their comments like spread across the screen, and it's kind of interesting. So I'll show you this real quick. But again, from a cognitive standpoint, what does this mean? Let's take a look. So, actually what was cool about this was that the comments are in HTML5, and Google Translate was trying to translate these Japanese comments in real time. And when I wasn't recording, it actually was doing it in real time, and which blew my mind. And then once I started the screen recording, it couldn't keep up. I guess there wasn't enough RAM, so it would stall out. But again, can we use different ways of sending out social comments, group-based comments in this fashion? Is there any advantage? I don't know, but pretty cool nonetheless. All right, let me get back over here.
Back to Facebook.
Great. Yeah, right. That's where the video is posted at.
Okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
The moment of truth for a creative unit is the first 5 seconds. Again, I think you guys need to figure out how to build hooks into your videos. Really critical. And I got some thoughts and ideas around that. Let's go back to cognitive load real quick. So, getting to the work of Richard Mayer, Dr. Richard Mayer, Dr. Ruth Clark. If you don't have any of those books on your bookshelf or on your Kindle, you need to have them, because if you are in media and you're in learning, there's some core concepts and core principles that are in there. It's going to help you out tremendously. So,
and I'll give a shout out to Ruth. She's fantastic. If you ever get a chance to go to one of her workshops, I don't know if she does them anymore or if she's retired, but her consultancy put on workshops that were fantastic.
I think she's still doing stuff, actually, or she was last year. She was at Learning Dev Camp.
Oh, she was. Okay. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, folks in the chat. Again, anything from Richard Mayer. So Richard Mayer and Ruth Clark, they did a series or did a few multimedia. I mean, if you just Google, Ruth Clark multimedia or Richard Mayer multimedia, you'll find multiple books that are out. There's some multiple or many editions of those books out there. Yep.
And you can connect with Frank Nguyen co-authored some of some of the books with Ruth Clark. So he's a good guy to talk to about this stuff as well.
Yeah. And Lisa had a comment about the last 10 seconds. So, Lisa, one of the things that, I look at are patterns of media consumption. And the area that you're going to find a lot of churn or a lot of high frequency viewing is advertising and marketing. This is one of the reasons why you're seeing more information, even like little conferences about the use of marketing in learning. And so what's happened is that back in the 70s, 80s, you'd have a captive audience, right? We didn't have many choices until cable came out and whatnot. So you had people on the hook the whole entire time they're watching the commercial, right? You don't anymore. And that's the reason why the first 5 seconds is so critical to bring people in and also for learning, right? And one of the things I love to say now is that we're in a fight for attention, which is totally true. You have to be on your A game because there's so much competition out there to gain people's attention and keep them engaged, and the level of quality of content that's out there. And until we have
Glasshoff talks a lot about that, and I think Joe Gonchi, I think Joe's here. I think he talks a lot about that too, right? We're not competing against other courses or other learning. We're competing against other media across the board.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult for learning and development to get above the noise and everything else that's going on out there. And our users are experiencing content at a very high level in mass, and then they come and take one of our courses. That's what you're up against. And so we gotta up our game, and we gotta use these techniques that you see in advertising and marketing and leverage them in all the content that we create. So real quick, as far as cognitive load, I think the one thing that I've been focusing in on, and for those of you that aren't familiar with these, intrinsic just means, the information is just difficult. Extraneous is the environment and the way that the content is consumed, and germane is that it's your own personal filter or schemes that are set on that content. I've been focusing a lot on the extraneous, and you know, the way that folks utilize their mobile devices or tablets to consume video-based content. You know, especially now with VR and headsets and all that. What does that mean from a cognitive standpoint, extraneous, to be consuming video that way? A couple more ideas here. How much time we got? I'm not going to get into this. You guys can go ahead and look this stuff up. This is just Mayer's work, and for me, the real important, or the area that I've been focusing in on is the first part is the sensory. You know, how do we actually get information into our brains, the first moments of it, and then how does it go into working memory? And then the long-term stuff is the repetition of the video, or you know, hands-on experience and things like that. Which, you know, some of the concepts that are out there is, like, for instance, the initial chemical reactions in the brain. Like, what happens from an emotional point in the limbic system when we consume video-based content or any kind of learning content. And then, you know, when does neuroplasticity begin to occur with the repetition of that content or hands-on experiences? I don't have, I wish I had the answer to that. I'd be very rich. But you know, as far as learning, that really is the million-dollar question. You know, when do we go beyond the initial chemical reactions? When do our skills start to increase and expand and can be applied?
And what happens when you're in true multimedia, like with virtual reality coming out, right? Like, what happens when there's media within media? So you're in a headset, you're in a virtual space, and then there's a wall with a video playing on it. So you're like, you're in media, but now you're viewing media while you're in another form of media. So
and to jump in here, like, if we're talking about how our brain responds, like limbic system kind of stuff that you're bringing up, Josh, there's not a difference. Like, it was not designed for media of this sort and media of that sort. Like, it's processing as if it's real. So it's just a matter of how immersed we feel. That's the closer we get to a truly immersive experience, or even something that's more immersive than real life, then we're using a system that's just designed for real life. It's designed for, like, you know, us across the savannas or in the trees. It's not designed for all that we're throwing at it, but we can kind of hack the system to do even more than it's designed to do. And trying to fit through the bandwidth of what was designed for savannas and trees, you know, is that just visual? Well, no, there's all sorts of other stuff going on. Being able to look around, but also being able to hear. We haven't quite got to smell yet, but as soon as we start doing that, like being able to access more of what we have evolved brains for, what we've evolved brains to do, then we can amplify all of these effects that you're talking about. It's great to see this work, Josh. Thanks.
Yeah, and then that gets into, like, the suspension of disbelief, right? You know, and whether it be cinema or VR or anything like that. Let me just again
talk about, like, how real something needs to be in order for the brain to accept it. So you've got the cognitive leap theory, right? Like, how, like, if you tell somebody that a box, a cube inside of a virtual space is representative of a real world box, is that good enough? Or does it actually have to look like a real cardboard box with the textures and all that kind of stuff? And I would argue no, but that's a whole nother neuroscientific thing.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of what we believe. And a funny thing about that is it doesn't have a whole lot to do with what we think. Not as much as we like to think, anyway. I mean, we all have emotional attachments to, like, cartoon characters or puppets or something. We know they're not real, but, like, if you take Kermit the Frog talking and you crush him, people will react emotionally, even though they know that there's no, you know, character there or whatever, but we're invested in that. There's an emotional response there. You know, we know better, but we believe differently. And with regards to the suspension of disbelief, you know, we can know that we're in a VR environment when we go over the roller coaster, but you're still going to feel that sinking at the pit of your stomach. Yeah.
Right. Hey, I'm gonna quickly. I'm gonna get into this theory stuff here. Let me go right into some of the meat here. Some of the other. I'm gonna give people some takeaways here. Some things, other things to think about. So another concept, neuroscience, but just in general, is that I've been tracking this trend where with media expansion, there's more short form content. An example of this just recently, Katzenberg from NBC is trying to pitch 10-minute shows on the iPhone, right? And so you have this pattern of, as media expands, the need to actually create short form content begins to increase. And as learning practitioners, we have to be, you know, it's not the final solution. It's just something you need to be aware of. And you know, you hear things about chunking and micro content and all of that. Be aware of, you know, how are your users consuming content? What are their patterns for consuming that content? And as practitioners, how can we best meet those needs within the context of their, you know, day-to-day functions? So, but again, this is not going to slow down. This is actually going to accelerate. So, you know,
and it's
plan for short-form content.
It's all relative, right? I mean, it's like when I'm watching Game of Thrones, that's a whole hour plus or something like that, but it feels like micro content because it goes by so fast. But then sometimes I'll watch a 10-minute video and that feels like an hour.
Might that be a training video, Brent?
And it wasn't. Right?
And then Laura has a comment there. I understand this correctly. In augmented virtual reality environments, the media within the media integrates, embeds, and enhances the experience rather than adding to the cognitive load. You would hope.
Yeah.
I guess that would depend upon the execution.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of opportunities with augmented reality to enhance what you're currently experiencing without having a high, you know, with a cognitive overload situation. But if it's not properly done, it could backfire. I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike throws out a good point that's near and dear to my heart. I've listened to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History for a long time, and he's absolutely right. If any of you are history buffs at all, or even if you've ever had any inkling of it, this guy tells history like nobody's business, and a great, great story. I'd be curious which 6-hour one you're listening to, Mike. He's got a bunch of them that are in a series format that are fantastic, and you don't feel like you're listening to just, you know, a 2-minute, 10-minute thing. But yeah, it goes on long, but there's a lot of history to be told. So,
and that is how most history has been told. And, you know, when we're immersed in it, even if it's just audio, that's, as far as media is concerned, it's just one thing, right? And it's well studied. It's not that deep. It's not immersive from like a VR standpoint. But when you're immersed in it, all that stuff in your brain is firing as well as if it was real, if you were really there. Like, we can't tell the difference, right? Even though we know it's different. We don't feel it differently.
Right. Okay. I probably got about 10 minutes of that. Let me just, I'm just going to jump around here real quick because there's just we'll just do this next one here real quick. Just, so if you're trying to create optimal video for learning, not advertising and marketing, just learning, this is a structure I came up with. So at the beginning, you have emotional pull. Again, it's your opportunity to use that first 5 seconds to draw somebody in. This could be a title. A technique that I see often used now is what's called a cold open. Like, you know, you can watch Saturday Night Live. They don't start with the title sequence. They just go right into the first sketch. That's called a cold open. So a cold open would be right at the start of the video, hi, I'm Josh Cavalier. Let's take a look at how to build a micro video. And then it goes into a title sequence, and then we go into the actual video. So that would be emotional pull. priming is the ready position. It's the getting your brain set to learn. It's the opportunity for you to, again, give somebody some context and how you're going to give them the information, and they can pull that out of the schema in their brain and be ready, be set to add on or, you know, have a whole new schema created. Then we get into the content, and we want this to be optimal too. Right? We don't want it to be boring. We want to leverage symbols. We want to make sure that we don't, you know, we're using audio in the background properly, sound effects. We're not talking too fast. We're not talking too slow. And along those lines, 2.5 words per second is the optimal rate at which you should speak for learning. Okay, that's also the same rate as newscasters or broadcasters use to deliver the news. All right. Now, is that across the board for everyone? Probably not, because you have some people that will want to hear a slower pace or a slower voice, and you have another percentage of people that are more type A that want a faster voice. But if you average it out, it's around 2.5. And I was talking with Lee Lefevre at a conference, and that's what they use at Common Craft. So I've had some validation on that. Give it a shot. It's also a great way to determine the how long your videos are going to be. So if you have a script, just go ahead and, you know, edit by 2.5 per second, and that'll give you the approximate length of the script too. Reflection, again, opportunity to go ahead and reflect upon what was just what you just went over, and then the emotional push is off the end. Now, there are times when you don't need to have the emotion at the beginning or at the end, and a good example of this would be in systems where videos are consumed as a follow-up to training, and it's like if you use like MindMarker or some of these other platforms where it's a push technology post-training, you know, it's actually the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, you know, where I'm going to go ahead and give you the reinforcement. Well, users are already bought into it, right? And this is the only way they're going to be consuming the content. There's no reason to get them emotionally charged. If they've already accepted the push to get the content, you can just jump right into the content, right? But if someone's coming in cold to my learning, so if it's sitting in a video content management system in my learning ecosystem, and someone's going to come cold into the video, you better use emotion. If it's inside of a storyline or anything like that, you got to leverage that.
This is a great framework, a great piece to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I'm hanging out a little longer than I had intended to. I actually have to go present another webinar in like 10 minutes. But it's such great recording. Yeah, it's such great content that you're sharing, Josh. I didn't want to leave. Like, this is really cool stuff. Great tips.
Do you want me to go ahead? Do you want me to do your webinar?
Yeah, sure. If you wouldn't mind. Yeah, you've got all this good stuff.
Maybe we could just live stream this over to wherever you're doing your webinar. Yeah. We'll just keep going.
Well, I am wrestling with Adobe Connect in the background. I don't think that will be possible. My favorite of the webinar platforms. Anyway, I got to be able to go get all the things hooked up. But thank you again for being here, Josh. Happy Video Friday, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam. Good to see you.
So this is Monroe's motivated sequence. And if you were to go ahead and overlap at the advertising and sales model of video and put on top of the learning model of video, it's extremely close. They're very much intertwined. But my belief is that we have to be more diligent in the way that we control emotion throughout the whole entire video. So in Monroe's motivated sequence, you have first attention, which if you go back to Gagne, you know, it's like one of the first things you got to do when you're getting somebody ready to learn. Identify the need, satisfy the need, visual solution, and then there's a call to action. Now, you could use the same structure for your marketing videos that you use for learning. The pre-course videos incorporate these methodologies, right? So leverage this. This is where you use emotion all the way through the video. You want to get somebody pumped up that they're going to be spending, 16 hours of their life in this course, right?
It's a great way to do that is, what is it? iMovie has movie trailer templates. And so the template is already, meant to be really short. It's already got the really emotional music, and it tells you exactly what type of shots you should have. So you could pull elements from your course, right? And make this really great short movie trailer, use it as a marketing tool, right? To get people psyched about taking the course, and then maybe even use it as an intro.
That's right. Now, for your longer form videos, your training videos, you can actually use this structure to keep people strung along, because if you just have straight up content for long periods of time, you have to get it to the level that's so engaging and so good that they want to stick around. It's very tough to execute on that. So what you do is bring a subject matter expert back on the screen, which raises engagement. By throwing somebody on the screen and transitioning to the next topic. So if you're doing multiple learning objectives, you can have emotional pull at the beginning, get into the learning objective, have a transition statement, bring the person back on, get them into the next learning objective, and then you go out on the second learning objective. So if you have videos that are 2 or 3 minutes long, this is another great structure. All right, 5 minutes. So I have all these planning blocks that you could do to identify cognitive load issues. I'm not going to get too much into it, but there's a little bit of pre-planning you could do to identify, hey, this is an idea of how I'm going to execute on this video, but I have a high cognitive load issue in doing these 60 videos I need to create. Couple other thoughts, things you guys can use. Titles, again, going back to Gagne, gain attention, tell them the objective, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's all fantastic stuff. These are
Yep.
good. This is a good teaser for your presentations coming up at DevLearn and any place else where you're going to be presenting them as well. So fantastic stuff.
Thanks, Brent, because I could just keep going and going. So
couldn't we all? I mean, this is great. Yeah, this is one of those days where unfortunately I have to make sure I end right at 9 because I have to call into another 9 o'clock meeting. But I think we answered this. But this question in the Q&A is, am I understanding this correct? In augmented virtual reality environments, the media within the media integrates, embeds, and enhances the experience rather than adding cognitive load. And I think we talked about that. I just wanted to make sure we hit on it for sure.
Yeah. If you guys want more of this, I'm doing a 1-day workshop at DevLearn on the Monday before conference. Cool. I'm also doing an interactive video session at the Adobe Learning Summit on the Tuesday, and then I'm also doing a stage for eLearning Brothers on Microvideo on the Thursday of DevLearn. And then I'm also doing a few sessions for ATD Charlotte and ATD Columbia, South Carolina. So if you're going to their days of learning, I'll be around there talking about the same stuff.
Nice. It's a great way to do it. Hey, I'm still trying to get Andrew's name right. It's Chivali, right? Isn't that what he said yesterday?
I wasn't in there yesterday.
Oh, you weren't in yesterday?
It sounds right.
Andrew Chivali, I think.
Chivali.
It's Chivali? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I'm just not sure where to put the accent.
Yeah.
All right, so Lisa says Chivali. Louise says Cavalier.
Chivali.
It's been haunting me since I butchered it.
I say Cavalier.
Yeah, I butchered it so badly yesterday. It's been haunting me. I don't like doing that to people's names. So I'll get it right one of these days. But it was a great show. And anyways, thanks Josh for hanging out today and doing this. This is fantastic.
Guys, appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, great. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna close out your window, but before I do, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you besides at all these events? Where can people find you online?
Yep. So on the Twitters at Josh Cav, I'm on LinkedIn. And then if you want to reach out to me for something specific, my email is josh, Josh, @lodestone.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Good
Thanks,
stuff,
Frank.
Josh. Yep. Thank you very much,
Thanks, guys.
Yep. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good weekend. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Hey, that's another Video Friday in the can. Tons of good links, lots of good video stuff. That LED light kit is still sitting up here on my Amazon Prime asking me to buy it, but I'm going to have to put that off for a little while longer, but it's a good one. So, yeah, it was a great week, man. We've had tons and tons and tons of great content this week and great conversations. We'll Sunday expect the roundup, the weekly roundup, basically giving you a big summary of all the cool stuff that happened this week. So Luis has his work cut out for him putting that together this week, but it is something we all are starting to look forward to because it is a fun one to see and to get in the email. So be sure to sign up and register for your the newsletter, the TLDC newsletter, and become a member. You know, that's something that helps us out here. If you feel like you are getting value from the community and there's something you want to do to figure out how to give back, become a member of TLDC and officially as the members in the community, and tell all your friends. And be sure to share us on Twitter and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all of those other areas as well. So we are working on extra special value for membership as well. So there's that to look forward to. And it is so far such positive feedback. Just again, I didn't get to take a 30-minute break to say, 30-minute at the 30-minute mark, I didn't get a chance to take the break to say thank you, but I just want to say thank you again to everybody that participates in the community and tells all your friends and the volunteers to jump in and give presentations and share your knowledge. It's fantastic, and we certainly couldn't do all of this stuff without all of you. So again, thanks everybody. We had a great crew today. Another Video Friday, my favorite day of the week, I must say. So if anybody knows anybody who's interested, let them know. And if you want to chat with me offline or anything like that, you can always find me at B Schlenker on Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn and just about everywhere else. I'm a pretty easy guy to find online. So anyways, you guys all have a fantastic weekend. I am actually jumping in the car later this afternoon with my oldest daughter and doing the road trip to Iowa. So if you do follow me on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, you'll probably be catching some of that journey. So anyways, I hope everybody else has a great weekend as well. Stay in touch. We will see you on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Adios. Bye, bye, no, 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 no.